6 words to describe myself. Bug lover, bird lover, clog lover, Japanophile big time, and dog fan. My name's Ajay Revels, and I'm actually originally from Alaska. Grew up just outside of Fort Richardson in Alaska. My earliest memory is of myself and my dog Snowflake playing outside in a big field of huge flowers and looking up from the flowers and seeing a moose come out of the woods, and my dog signaled it was time for us to leave, which, if you know anything about moose, it's usually time for you to leave when they show up. The biggest mistake I think I've learned from was actually, ironically, moving to New York. I'm a real country person. I'm somebody who really likes trees. I really like a lot of animals. But moving to New York really made it possible for me to really understand design in a very rich way, because there is so much architecture here, there's so much art here, design, and so many different kinds of designers from all around the world work here. And I've worked on a lot of different kinds of projects, which I wouldn't have been able to do if I lived somewhere else. So it was very, very difficult for me to move here and live here and be here as long as I have been. But it's been very, very rewarding. My idea of design has expanded quite a bit now, because I feel like now I at least have an idea of the huge amount of history that underpins design and design practices. It's really kind of blown up the entire field of design for me. So now I actually see it everywhere, and I can kind of understand where that came from. I wish that for everyone that they have the ability to travel and that they have the ability to understand and be exposed to art and design from around the world. Did I just turn this off?
You went backwards.
Did I go backwards?
Yeah, so press forward.
There we go. Great. Hi, thanks everyone for coming out this evening to hear our thesis presentations. During the next few minutes, I want to take you on a brief, I was hoping you would just be able to say cheerful, but a brief tour of the design of mass surveillance and how it works and why we find ourselves in a data privacy crisis. When I began working as a design researcher in the late 90s, email was only 29 years old, if you can believe it. Dial-up was how you connected to the internet. I evaluated at the time hundreds of software applications in order to improve the interaction between people and computers and to keep people in control of their machines. Today, websites, mobile apps, and work-related software are definitely more easy to use, but somewhere along our journey, people have been transformed into products. We voluntarily generate data that we can't readily control, and our data is funneled into profiteering for the few and surveillance of the many. So how has user experience design enabled this data extraction and the surveillance of our everyday activities? I was really curious to dig into this. So let's start with the internet. When asked, most people describe the internet as a cloud, a kind of electronic magic involving smartphones, laptops, and the many apps that we use daily. Some call it a communications network that somehow uses cookies, and it brings us convenience and community for free. The good news is that the internet is actually physical, and digital surveillance requires the use of satellites in orbit around the planet, fiber optic cables running along the ocean floor, CCTV cameras mounted next to roads, and computers installed in buildings around town. This vast multi-armed assemblage of technologies tapers down to an object 90% of us carry in our pocket or bag and probably can't live without. Our phones can tell us a lot about how surveillance works. If visitors from another solar system suddenly appeared in one of our cities, this is likely how we'll greet them. In addition to high-fidelity cameras, our smartphones contain a private secretary who understands our language, an expert driver, a radio, a mailbox, the weather service, and a speedy courier service, all literally controllable by our fingertips. Who do we thank for inventing Siri, GPS, the Wi-Fi antenna, email, and the very internet that we connect to when we want to upload our images of visiting cat aliens? That would be the Advanced Research Projects Agency, today known as DARPA, the R&D arm of the Pentagon. While DARPA continues to fund battle-centered technology, private companies are focused on perfecting how to get us to make the choices they want us to make. We are repeatedly tapping apps because tech companies have designed their products to be distracting and addictive. They nudge us by targeting the same reward-based behaviors that activate the brain's dopamine pathways, like those found in gambling and drug use. That alien landing photo uploaded to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram triggers buzzing, tones, or pop-up messages on phones, which ignites a Pavlovian response in us to look at our phones. User studies show us that we nervously check our phones every 12 minutes and use them about 5 hours a day. This new behavior is useful to the attention economy, where companies like Facebook can follow our devices across websites and collect every login, visit, swipe, and comment we make on any website with a Facebook like button. While we may be able to resist the like button, some app design elements are powerful enough to change our fundamental habits. The red notification bubble has been repeatedly tested and perfected to grab our attention with the promise of novelty, which our brains crave. And once we've been pulled into the app, our attention is held in place by infinite scrolling, autoplay, refresh interactions that reward us with continuous novelty. Over time, we learn to think in 2D, define space as Google Maps depicts it, and to redefine ourselves by likes, retweets, and the number of followers we gain. As we do this, we're generating data, the new oil of the attention economy. No wonder we're so popular. We are walking fountains of free, machine-readable data. And Google, Facebook, and Amazon are the digital distilleries intent on converting us into profit streams and prediction models. Facebook's custom audience and lookalike audience tool is sold to political organizations who match their lists of people to 1.9 million detailed Facebook profiles in order to target them with campaign ads. Our data is also used for control, and facial recognition is poised to become one of the most pervasive surveillance technologies. But how accurate are they? Well, the FBI's next generation identification system has an accuracy rate of only 85%. That means a 15% match error rate. Deepface, which is built by Facebook, is 96% accurate. And Face++, used to authorize payments, buy train tickets, and access buildings in China, is 99.7% accurate. So accurate that jaywalkers are automatically picked up on facial recognition scans and immediately texted with their fines to their phones. That's control. In addition to selling our data to ISPs like AT&T, Verizon, and Comcast, ISPs have integrated a wide array of surveillance equipment into their networks, which then feeds the data to law enforcement and intelligence networks in real time. Historically, surveillance was difficult, expensive, and justified solely for national security and high-stakes commerce. But now location-based technologies have brought down the cost of tracking a spouse, an employee, a neighbor, or a stranger to less than $500 per year. That partly explains why global surveillance industry, a multi-billion-dollar sector, has grown from nearly $0 in 2001 to $19 billion by 2015, with estimates of growth to $39 billion by 2023. Surveillance, unfortunately, is now the business model of the internet, and Google is the company model that others wish to emulate. It's a comforting myth to think that surveillance is something imposed on the internet from the outside. As Yasha Levine details in his book, Surveillance Valley, military and intelligence agencies used the network technology of the 1970s to spy on Americans in the very first version of the internet. Surveillance was baked in from the very beginning. From a human-centered design perspective, surveillance happens outside of our awareness because there are no pop-up alerts indicating that our data is being collected, no Google map tracing our data's travels, no drop pin showing where our data is stored, and no message from buyers of our data detailing how much they paid for it or what they used it for. The flow of data is designed to work in one direction, from people towards profiteers, from extraction to monetization. So in the late 1780s, Jeremy Bentham designed the Panopticon, a circular building that allows a watchman to observe occupants without the occupants knowing whether or not they're being watched. In the 1940s, with the arrival of television, George Orwell imagined a new kind of expensive electronic panopticon that could extend beyond buildings to street, public spaces, and homes. We have already surpassed the era of Panopticon 2, or Big Brother. Panopticon 3 refers to the cheap, data-centric human trafficking system that surrounds us now. Today, we carry around a beautifully designed personal tracking device that informs most of our dedicated followers about our every move. You may have paid for your phone, but it and the apps installed on it work for Google, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, government agencies, law enforcement, intelligence vendors, advertisers, and many more. We clearly have more followers than we think, and they want to know everything about us. It's nothing personal, mind you, it's just business. As Thomas Pynchon wrote in Gravity's Rainbow, if they can get you asking the wrong questions, they don't have to worry about the answers. Thank you for listening.